Hey everybody, I am just wrapping up your week 2. I have read all of your stuff this weekend. I read your secrets thing, I read your pre-writing. I was really pleased with how well you did on the discussion boards for your mentor texts. I'm really happy that you enjoyed the text that I've provided for you this week, and I'm really excited that you are doing a great job pulling out the 6 traits of writing in those mentor texts. I was very pleased. So I hope that you continue to do that, and I hope that you revisit those mentor texts often, because those are texts that are models for you when you decide to start getting down to the nitty-gritty in your own personal narratives. These texts that have been provided are model texts of personal narratives. So they are for you to look at and try and figure out how to write a mentor text in an exquisite way. So I just wanted you to know that I have read all of your rough drafts. I did comment to some of you that maybe the genre is different than what you were writing, and I wanted to show you that right now. And I know that it's better in a classroom, but I want to show you what you need to remember about doing a personal narrative. So down here you always start with like setting and introducing your characters and stuff, and then you start building up and you start showing where the conflict is happening, because every good story has a conflict. And then when you get to this part at the very top of the hill, that is your climax. And so we need some kind of conflict to go wrong in order to have this building action happening. This is building to the climax. And then the climax happens. And remember in the Three Little Pigs, that's when the wolf is coming down the chimney, right? And so we're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Oh, right? And then you have the falling action, and it kind of goes down into the denouement. And when you get down here, this is where you have your conclusion and your so what. This is the meaningful reason why you're telling your story. This is why you decided to write what you decided to write, okay? So some of you were writing in your shitty first draft, which is a shitty first draft. I didn't expect any wonderful writing at all. It was just to get some ideas down. So it very well could be that you were just getting ideas down, and that's fine. But some of you were writing it kind of like a diary or a list, like I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then I did this, and there was no building action. And some of you wrote it like that, but I could see how it could be a building action, and how I could see where the climax might be, and I could see where you were going with your so what. So I tried really hard to have an open mind with that. And sometimes I said, okay, maybe if you can figure out your rising action and your climax and your so what, this might work. And then some of you was like, yeah, I just don't see any rising action at all, but you could have just not written it down. So I don't want you to get discouraged if you really feel like what you wrote in your rough draft was something that does have a rising action, it does have a climax. You are going to have a meaningful relationship with your readers, and your readers are the people in this class. Everybody is going to be able to have some access to some people's papers. We're going to be doing some revision with groups in this class. And then, of course, your biggest audience member is me. So remember that you have to be doing something with your writing to engage your reader. You can't be writing for a different audience, right? So if you have a specialized something that you're writing about that I'm not going to understand, then you need to provide all of the background knowledge for me, because I'm your audience, and I'm your most important audience member because I'm grading you, right? So you need to make sure that I'm understanding everything and that it all makes sense to me and that you're going to keep me engaged. So in the rising action, I am there going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Right? So it needs to be a well-told story, and this narrative arc where you begin and you end is really important. So if you feel like I was misjudging your work, fine, that's cool. You can email me back and forth if you want me to look at something again. That's cool. We do not have a draft due in week 3. We will have a draft due in week 4. So this week you're going to be doing some you are going to be doing some drafting because clearly we're working on our personal narratives. So you're going to be drafting. But we're going to be looking at acts, like where are your acts? Can you mix up your acts? What can you do about that? So that's what you're going to be focusing on this week. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the word there. There are 3 words that sound like there. And so I have done a little bit of digging for you so you can determine which one to use in your writing. Okay, I've noticed many of you are using the incorrect spelling in your writing. And this is a college level class, and I have taught younger kids, and I have expected those younger kids to choose the correct spelling of the word there. And that is an expectation for you as well. So below this video, there is a nice little picture that will show you which there to use when. And there's also a little video that gives you some really great tips. So like you can write the word there, like if you mean I left my coffee over there, then you can exchange it for something else. Like I think that one is here. So if you can say I left my coffee over here, then you're going to spell it T-H-E-R-E. The word here is in there. In this, okay, well, watch the video. It will show you. It has some cute little tricks for you, so you'll be able to remember which there to use. And I will be expecting that from now on. If I see a there that is incorrect, I will be circling it, and if it's on a discussion board or something, I will make note of it, and you will be losing points because that's it. We're done with that, okay? So make sure that you are correcting those. The other thing that is below this video is a nice little video talking about the discussion boards and how to reply to the replies. I had several questions about how to reply to a discussion board, and I think it's because, well, I explained it in that video, so watch it and then you'll figure it all out, okay? All right, what else did I need to talk to you about? Discussion boards, Writer's Notebook. I was really excited that somebody actually posted on Scribbles and Craft this week. That made me so happy. Remember that is your choice. It's something that you can post any kind of writing. So if you write a really cool poem, put it up there so I can read it. If I know a couple of you were talking about the voice thread this week about breaking a story into acts, and you liked the 3 Little Pig thing and you thought it was kind of cool and you were like, I want to write one of those. If you write another version of the 3 Little Pigs or any other fairy tale or children's tale that's, well known, put it in there so I can read it. I love that kind of stuff. And then I don't have to grade it. I can just enjoy it. So that will be great. This week, in week 3, I think I've told you it looks like there is a lot to do, and there are a lot of little assignments due. The satellite writing is going to be super important. That will be also a revision strategy for your personal narrative. So how about this? If you choose to change your topic, just email me what you want to do, okay? And maybe do some sort of brain dumpy kind of like, this is what I'm thinking. You don't even have to really do a draft. Just let me know what you're thinking so we make sure that your topic works in this, okay? This, there, that. All right. So I think that's all I have to tell you. You guys did a really nice job. My gosh, when you were discussing the mentor texts, I was so excited. The textual evidence that you were pulling in was fantastic. That's another thing that I really wanted to talk to you about was the white food essay. I think that you were skirting around the main point. And Co does such a great job with this essay of the white food. I want you to think about how American society is portrayed on TV. It's artificial, right? It's an artificially kind of happy, I don't know, like contented society where everybody has enough and everybody, there might be conflicts, but they're little conflicts, that can be solved. There's no major problems on the sitcoms that you see, and there's none on the commercials that you see either. You might have a movie that talks about some really heavy stuff, but for the most part, when you're watching TV, it's sort of an escape from reality. It's this artificial kind of happy place in America where everybody is kind of taken care of and close to their families, and it's all good. And I want you to see how she's comparing that kind of artificial TV world with how she was eating all of the processed food and American food, right? So all of the things that were on TV with their really beautiful packaging and the photographs of how lovely all of that food looks and how it doesn't really taste as good as it looks on the packaging. I want you to think about how artificial that is, and how being an immigrant, when you have a vision of America, a lot of it comes from that commercial TV stuff. And so you have this vision of how Americans live based off of TV, and that includes the commercials for the Doritos and right? So I want you to think about how the assimilation was in her family was this sort of to this artificial America, this America where as long as you have enough so you can buy the Swanson's TV dinners, you're doing well, right? And that's really expensive too. It's really expensive to buy all of that packaged stuff. And then how she's contrasting that with all of her friends and how her friends are eating. And even if her friends, I really felt like, I feel like I'm a pretty typical American, right? I grew up here in Minnesota, and I eat hot dogs, right? I eat hot dogs. I eat processed food. But I cook a lot. I make stuff from scratch. I don't even buy the jars of marinara. I make my own spaghetti sauce, right? So, I cook a lot. It's only when I don't have time that I'm like, we're having hot dogs for dinner because I have 10 minutes before I have to go to my next thing. So I do feel like she made it sound like the Americans were all like non-sweetened applesauce and, just the plain chicken breasts. Yeah. She might have been going a little bit over the line there that everybody was really healthy because, as a rule, Americans aren't. But so then, however, the whole getting sick thing was huge, right? All this processed food made her sick and kind of poisoned her body. And so she uses that as a metaphor, right? A metaphor for how now she can't eat that food and she's still not assimilated. She's like a processed American. She's not a true American. She's just sort of this adjacent America.